We're going to go ahead and talk about programming your calculator. So we're going to first of all start off by hitting Program. Then we got to arrow over to New, create our name. Then we'll have to type in the name of sum. So you notice the alpha's on, so all we have to do is then hit just SUM. Helps to hit the right key. And then hit enter. Then we're going to go 0. The arrow is your store button. Then we want to go S, which is alpha natural log. Hit enter. Then we'll go 1, store, hit your X button. Then we'll hit enter. Now we need to get label. To get label, we go program, and then we got to arrow down. All your keywords over here are either going to be in the control list or in the income or input output column. So we'll arrow down, we'll hit label, we'll type in 3, hit enter, then we got to go S plus, then we got to go Y1. Y1 is you cannot just type a Y with a 1 byte, you need to go vars, arrow to the right to Y vars, hit enter on function, and then you see Y1. And then we need to store that as S. And then we'll go X plus 1 and store that as X. And then we got to go if, so we'll go back to program. We'll select if, and then we'll go X. Our less than shows up underneath second math, which is test. And so we want less than or equal to, which is number 6. We want less than or equal to 5. And we'll hit enter. Then we'll hit program. And we'll hit go to. Three. Then we'll hit display. That's an input output option, so we got to arrow over to input output, select number 3, and then we want to display S. Now, helps to do it correctly. Then we want to go ahead and hit exit or quit. So I'm going to get onto another line and then I'm going to quit. The program that we just wrote is for this particular problem. It says k equals 1, so that's why we need to start out with 1 here. S0 is for our sum, so we got to start out with no sum because we haven't started to do anything yet. This label 3 and go to 3 creates a loop that you keep going back and forth and repeating that loop. And you repeat that loop until your value of x is no longer less than or equal to 5. If it's less than or equal to 5, you stay in the loop. If your x gets to be beyond 5, then it kicks you out of the loop and it's going to display your answer of your sum. So for this particular problem to work it out, you'd take 1, you'd plug it into your function right here, get 1 squared, which is 1, you'd write that answer down, then you go plus, and then you got to plug in 2, you get 2 squared, which is 4, and then you go plus, and then you plug in 3, and you keep doing that until you plug in the top number of 5. So this top number of 5 is the last number you plug in, and that's why 5 shows up right here, because that's the last number you plug in. So this is saying take your sum, initially it's at 0, and then it says take your value of x, initially it's at 1, take 1 and plug it into your y1. And then it's going to store that as your new sum, and then it's going to go to the next number up, which is going to increase it by 1, and it's going to then repeat that process. So to be able to get this to carry out, we need to go to our y equals. My stat plot's on, so I got to turn that off. And in my y equals, I need to go ahead and put my function, in this case it's k squared, so I'll go x squared, put that in there. Now I need to go ahead and run my program. So I'll hit program, I need to execute my program. Sum is selected, so I'll hit enter on that to call it up. Now I'll hit enter to execute it, and it gives me 55. And that's the same answer you got when you carried all this out by hand. Now later on in your homework, you need to go ahead and do this particular problem over here on the right, finding the sum of 10 divided by k from k being 1 all the way to 50. You can go ahead and do that by hand. That's going to take you a while. So what would you have to change? Well, we're no longer starting at 1 and going up to 5 like we were up here. We're starting at 1 going up to 50. So we need to go to Program. We need to edit this program, so I'm going to hit Edit, and Sum is selected. Then I need to go down and change my 5, which is where I stop, to a 50. So whatever I have right here is always going to be referring to the top number on top of your sigma notation or summation notation. Now, I also got to go ahead and change one other thing. I need to go to my y equals, and I need to go ahead and change my rule here. My x squared worked great when it was my rule squaring my input, but now I got to change it to this. So I'm going to hit clear and type in 10 divided by x, because that's the new rule that I have. So now all I have to go ahead is to repeat my program. Now, you could go to Stat, hit Sum underneath the Execute menu, and it would bring this up. But since this is the last thing I've done, all I really have to do is just hit Enter, and it's going to repeat. And there's my sum. So once again, whatever number you have on the bottom, if this number was, say, 3, you would have to change this right here to a 3. Whatever number you have on top is what goes right here where this 5 is. And then whatever rule you have after this, that's what you need to put in your y equals. Then you can go ahead and go to your program and then execute your sum program, and it will go ahead and find the sum for you, so you don't have to do it by hand.